reason this is more effective than this is because of this muscle. Here I'm properly contracting the muscle, whereas here I am not properly contracting or engaging this muscle. This is the transverse abdominis, a deep core muscle that we should be using but usually are not. I'm going to tell you why and how to tell if you're using yours. The transverse abdominis is one of your 5 deep core muscles. When we contract our core for exercise and daily life, this muscle should be a primary player. Muscles move the same direction as their fibers, which can also clue you into how that muscle functions in your body. Those fibers of the transverse wind all the way around, meaning that when the muscle contracts or engages, it moves inward. It compresses toward the center, toward your spine. The relaxation of this muscle combined with exerted effort leads to a pushing out or a loafing of the abdominals. So it just isn't possible to push out when we're properly holding or compressing this muscle into place. If you look closely at my body, you can actually see my abdominals pushing away, especially when I'm in the longest part of this exercise. My low back and pelvis are losing stability as I move. And so you can see that I'm not using that corset muscle to hold myself together. But looks can be deceiving and visual identification is not going to work for everybody. So let's talk about how this feels, because ultimately that's what matters most. It should feel similar to a corset hugging your midsection, not tightening so much that you can't breathe, hugging. It should not feel like we're exerting effort against the corset. It's the tightening, not being held in and pushing out against that muscle. Feels like you're bracing to be tickled while you really have to pee. One of the most important tips, we often try too hard, and if we try too hard, we're gonna end up exerting too much effort and pushing, so try less. Maybe don't try so hard. Compression happens lightly. A light hug. You can put something around your midsection to help you with the feeling. A lightweight TheraBand. You can also use your SI belt that will help give you that sensation around your lower abdominals. You can lie down on your stomach, doesn't have to be on the floor, bed, couch, whatever, and use that as proprioceptive input to help you determine if you are pulling away, pulling up and in, as opposed to feeling yourself pushing against that surface below you. I also did a deep dive on the 3 different types of breathing that have some other suggestions. You can check that out as well. Last, how can you tell if you're actually doing this correctly and you're ready to progress? Once you've worked on finding the feeling of compression through targeted breathing, pelvic tucks, that kind of deep core work, you can move on to gentle movements like heel slides to begin focusing on pelvic stability as you move your leg. Because that's one of the real ways to tell if we're building pelvic stability, is our ability to hold our pelvis in place while we move our legs. I talk about that more in a deep dive that I've done on single leg lifts. You can also check that out. I've also shown some variations of heel slides, but let me know if you want me to do a deeper dive, because ultimately that's the in-between from deep core breathing, pelvic tuck. Then we want to do heel slides before we progress to lifting our leg. And again, the goal with each of those is that we can hold our pelvis in place. It doesn't tuck, tilt, move around. Our core is holding it with compression, not through pushing.